Okay guys, so today we're gonna try to capture a time lapse using 3 methods. First of all, let me set up. Yeah, now it's correctly leveled. Okay, so this is the tripod I'm gonna use. So let me set up the camera. No, I need to get my anti-filter too much sun. If you lower shutter speed, you probably will need anti-filter. So let me install it. Okay. So yeah, this is my first approach. So let's roll it. Yeah, let me stop that. So this was S and Q. Now I'm gonna switch to photo. Let's check it out. What we got in drive mode. Interval shoot function is set to 1 second, and number of shots, it's gonna be let's say 200, 300. Okay, exposure is. Oh, come on! And let's start. So this time I will capture time lapse using photos. Yeah, we are halfway through, but I can already tell that the motion blur is not the same as we did it with the first method. The train is coming. Yeah, definitely I can see already on the display that the motion blur is not so visible. I'll try to edit in post. I'll show you how to do it and we'll compare the results. Okay, let's stop here. Let's expose S-Log3 correctly, and right now I will just shoot a video and I'll try to speed it up in post and apply some motion blur effect and compare it with other time lapses. Okay, so final shot is ongoing, so yeah, I guess we'll see in the studio and we're gonna play with the shots we got. So, starting with S&Q footage, this is actually a regular video file, so we can simply add it to the timeline. In my case, this is S-Log3, so first we need to set correct color space and more or less color grade it. You can do it in several ways. Here it is how I do it. So my project color management settings are as follows. And in color page, at the clip level, I'm gonna create a couple of serial nodes. Alt-S, 2 parallels, Alt-P just in case, and some more serial nodes. Now, from the effects menu, search for color space transform and drag it to the first node. Provide input color space and gamma, in our case Sony S-Gamma3 Cine and Sony S-Log3. And output, we're gonna transform to the larger color space, which is DaVinci Wide Gamut, and output gamma DaVinci Intermediate. In most of the cases, this is the optimal way of doing it. The rest of the settings can be set as default. And in the last node, I will also use color space transform, but this time our input is DaVinci Wide Gamut and output is Rec 709. The output gamma depends on your display calibration. In my case, it's gamma 2.4. What I'm gonna do now is label some of the nodes. So this is DaVinci Wide Gamut, this is Rec 709, that would be exposure, balance, contrast, and saturation. So starting with exposure, I will slightly decrease it with offset wheel. By the way, I'm preparing a free color page guide, so if you're into it, just register with the link below. Next, contrast. Okay. Now let me go back to the balance. I talk more about balance and shot matching in this video if you're interested. So what I'm gonna do is taking off some green and red. Next, saturation. I'm gonna decrease the overall saturation and increase color boost. Yes, now the whole image is much better and evenly saturated. What I'm gonna do now is, in one of the parallel node, I will try to add more blue to the sky area. So in HDR, in highlight, Let me push just a tiny bit the wheel towards blue. Okay. And in the second parallel node, I will try to enhance more details. So I'm gonna use power window. And I'm gonna decrease offset. That will bring back some details. And let me also increase details parameter. Okay, so more or less we have a decent looking image. But what I like to do with this kind of time lapses is adding more movement and blurriness to the moving objects. So let's start with blurriness. I'm gonna combine motion blur and motion trails effects. Unfortunately, this is available only in Studio version. So in the effects library, search for motion blur and apply it to the next available node. In Advanced Controls, select from Previous Frame, adjust the motion blur to your needs. So this is before and after. Then search for Motion Trails and add it to the next node. Adjust trail length and drop off to your liking. So before and after. And finally, what I'm gonna do is add some more camera movement. So in the edit page, in the inspector, enable dynamic zoom. You can choose between easing options. And to further customize dynamic zoom behavior, from this drop-down menu, select dynamic zoom. And you can decide to what side and how much zoom you want to apply. Let me click swap button, so it's zooming in instead of zooming out. And the time-lapse is ready. Our second time-lapse was shot using photos. If you got raw files, you will need to convert them using, for instance, DNG converter, a free tool. The process is very simple. I also explain it in this video. I got JPEGs, so to import it as a time-lapse, all you need to do is select all the files and drag and drop them to the timeline. That's all. You will probably need to zoom and position the clip in the inspector to fit the screen. But overall, that's the main difference between photos and S&Q kind of time-lapse. And finally, if you have a regular video and want to make a time-lapse out of it, you basically need to speed it up. But that's not all, so bear with me. To speed up the video, just right-click, change clip speed, maybe 16 times, so 1600%, and click change. The clip is sped up, but if you add motion and trails blur, it's not visible that much. So the solution for it is to render the clip in place. Right-click, render in place. And now if we add motion blur, it's finally visible. So yeah, that would be 3 different ways of shooting and editing time-lapse in DaVinci Resolve. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more content like this, like and comment to support my channel, I will appreciate it a lot. Cheers and see you in the next one!